Hey all, I did a training session with a bunch of my coaching clients who are Zillow Premier Agents and or Flex partners last Friday, and I thought I would just share that with everybody today. So you're gonna watch a session that I did that's on a Zoom group session, so it's a little different than normal. I hope you enjoy it. If you are converting buyer leads and or any internet buyer leads, whether it's open house, Zillow, pay-per-click, realtor.com, then this is a great session for you. I'm going to break down 4 things: how to get more respect, how to get more trust, how to present that there's some advantage working with us over any other agent, and the last one is how to go deep with people such that they default give you loyalty. So it's a little longer of a training session. Make sure you guys go down below and you can speed up. Go to the settings here, go to the settings down here and click on the wheel and then just speed me up. That way you can get through the content faster. It's a little slow because remember, I'm trying to coach and train a bunch of people. Last thing, if you are a Zillow Premier agent and or you work with a Flex partner or you are a Flex partner, go find my Facebook group, which is Zillow Lead Conversion Train with Patrick. I'll put a link down below. Make a request to join. It is a private group. I set this up for a bunch of my Zillow Premier Agent coaching clients and friends. I do live sessions every Friday for the group, and then I just post the videos into that Facebook group environment. So you can go in there, take that video, watch it yourself, show it to some of your team members. Hope you enjoy. Have an awesome day. Here's the topic of the day. The question I have is, how do we create loyalty with a stranger, i.e. a buyer? The biggest challenge that most agents say to me when we're talking about buyers is they're just not loyal. And they kind of complain about that. And so, which is the reason why most coaches, trainers in the world would say you have to list to live. And the reason you have to list to live is because with a listing, you get them to sign a 6-month contract to hire you. And so on the buy side, there's no tradition of here's a 6-month contract to hire me. That tradition doesn't exist. And so the complaint that most people have is buyers aren't loyal. And what I want to look at today is, well, what's the solution to loyalty? How do we have them want to hire you? What would it take for a buyer to say to you, Jay, Chris, and Amar and Jim, hey guys, what is it going to take for me to hire you? How can I have you as my realtor? What do we need to do here so that you are my realtor? What would have to happen for us to earn that they would feel compelled to say, could you please be my realtor? Right? See, the problem that I see with most real estate agents is we complain about a lack of loyalty, yet we don't take responsibility for what would I have to do? How would I have to, what would I have to know? How could I create the conditions in which the person would want to ask me to be their realtor and that I would become desirable and attractive to them? Most agents are not taking responsibility for that. We're just like, hey, coach, how do I get more buyers to buy homes with me and just follow my advice so that I can sell more homes? And then I ask back the question, well, let me ask you, well, what would it take for a buyer to actually be attracted to you? What would it take for a buyer to respect you? And this is the key 3 words. Number 1, what would it take for a buyer to respect you? I respect you as a real estate professional. What would it take to earn respect? Number 2, what would it take to earn trust? Because if we can earn respect, we can earn trust, then would loyalty pretty much start to show up? The answer is yes. What would it take for them? Number 3 is, what would it take for them to see that you have some competitive advantage? There's something about what you do, how you do it, how you explain things, your wisdom, your knowledge, your work ethic, your way of operation, that there's some advantage working with you versus anyone else. What would it take to pull that off? How could we earn that, demonstrate that, present that there is some reason why they would want to work with us? Okay. And then number 4, which we'll talk about, is
And I want to just quote the great book, The Conversion Code. If you don't have The Conversion Code, which is a great book by Mr. Chris Smith, and I thought the book was fantastic because there was a lot of kind of converting internet lead sales skills and scripting skills. So I was, and I'm a sales skills and scripting skills, fanatic. So when I read the book, I was really, really impressed with some of the concepts, some of the scripting, some of the kind of conversion strategies in there. But he said something that was a game changer for me that I'd never heard before. And this is number 4. To earn loyalty, where they ask you, I want to hire you. He said, when an internet lead reveals to a salesperson for the first time their whole story, their aspirations, their concerns, and goes deep with what they want to accomplish, the first person that they do that with, they will default to working with them. By default, they will work with that person. And I saw this in the internet lead world. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so true. I experienced that in coaching. I experienced that in sales my entire life. If I can go deep with a real estate agent and get their true aspirations, their true concerns, I can really understand their challenges. I can really understand their business. And I got them deeper than any other coach trainer out there in the industry. They literally would just say, Patrick, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. I earned this level of respect. I earned this level of trust that they would literally do whatever I said moving forward. So I know that as a consultant and as a salesperson, but I see it for real estate agents all the time. Okay. Now let's talk about this last part of the going deep with someone and being the first person to get there. If we really look across the real estate industry with buyers have given to Zillow, Redfin, 2 or 3 or 4 agents at open houses, you and your website. They have given you, right? Yes, I have, Jay. Thank you for bringing that up. The great book, The Speed of Trust. Every buyer has probably given a website, an app, 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 agents. How many bedrooms, how many baths, how many square feet, what my price point is, and the areas that I want to live. Everybody on the planet knows those things with every buyer in the market today. So the problem that we all have is most of us are right there on the surface with everybody else. Therefore, there is nothing unique about us in that moment. And so there is no reason to be loyal to us because we're just one of 20 or 30 apps and services and agents who know what we're looking for, because that's as far as we ever get with most people. Do you guys get this? This is why there's no loyalty, because there's no depth. There's no, right? There's another thing, there's another quality that I think is really powerful in this topic of this last point of number 4 is when we're asking questions of a buyer about what's important to them, what they want to experience in their home, lifestyle qualities, different property type scenarios, and understanding them. And when you start asking more questions, if they self-discover something that they actually didn't know about their preferences with you, that's powerful. That they self-discover that they actually didn't know before a conversation with you, that they actually wanted this thing and this was a deal breaker. That right there, my friends, is when you're really skillful. So there's some things here. So how do let's talk a little bit about advantages. Let's talk a little bit about respect. Let's talk a little bit about trust. And let's talk a little bit about depth in the conversation and going deep with people, right? Okay. So how do we, let's talk about just how do we earn respect? What do you guys think? How do we earn respect with a buyer, whether or not it's at an open house, whether or not it's on a first conversation with a Zillow lead, or whether or not it's at the first showing because you're trying to earn an opportunity with them? How do we gain a little bit of respect? What's the most obvious answer, you guys?
Knowledge.
Knowledge about what?
About your market, about the house.
Yep. Let's just stay right there and let's just call it a day there. If you don't know something about houses, product type, market area of the property that you're speaking to with a buyer, and you don't know something with more depth than they know, they have no reason to respect you as a realtor. So if they're like, yeah, I'm interested in a property, it's like a we're thinking kind of 4-bedroom, 2-bath, over in Sunnyvale, California. And we're thinking that, we can really kind of swing maybe about 1.1 to 1.2 million only. In that moment, if you don't have a comment about 4-bedroom, 2 baths in Sunnyvale in between the 1 to 1.2, you don't have a comment about that, then you are missing the opportunity for respect. And if you don't understand what the 4-bedroom, 2-bath, single family, 1 to 1.2 in Sunnyvale, what that market is about, well, then there's no reason for them to have any respect for you. If they know more about that market in that area, in that neighborhood, and that property type than you've already lost. So, Jim, you're 100% accurate. So the big problem with a lot of newer real estate agents that, maybe that you guys have on your team is they're not studying products, neighborhood, product type, price points, housing and what's going on and what's listed, what's active, what's pending, what's sold. They're not studying the market enough to earn respect with the buyers as step number one, right? So when I talk to, and I've shared this before, with a lot of the internet leads I was buying for a while there, I was getting a lot of condo buyers for Carlsbad, kind of in this $500,000 range. Now, since I had kind of gotten so many of these leads, I started paying attention to all of the condo communities in Carlsbad. There's 4 zip codes and it's massive. And I knew the ones that were closer to the coast and the ones that were a little bit more inland. And I started to know all of these darn communities and what you could get at 500,000. So when I would talk to a lead for the first time and they were like, yeah, we're looking at condos kind of in the $500,000 range. Oh, I would have a lot of comments about this because I was like, look, I've been in almost all the communities in Carlsbad. I've looked at almost all of the condos in the price range of 450 to 550. And let me just tell you a little bit about what the experience is and what you can expect. What do you think happens when I do that? Are they like, oh, no, I'm too busy. I don't want to hear from you. Could you just show me the property? Or are they like, oh, yeah. Oh, please tell me. And immediately when I'm like, here's what you can expect in 500,000, in condos in Carlsbad, especially if you're looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, here's exactly what you should expect. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's kind of what we saw online, but we were so confused, but we thought maybe we can get a good deal. And I was like, so if you're not willing to do this, and this, I'm sorry, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to find anything really good, but I can help you with things like this, that, and the other. What did I already earn within seconds of the first conversation? Respect, just like that. Okay. So if we are not studying the market and have the ability to do that, we're already at a disadvantage. Let's go. Now let's move to the next thing. Okay. Which is, how do we get trust? Where does trust how do we accomplish that? Right.
Honesty.
A couple simple things that I would throw down is when we say things like, based upon what you've told me, I think this property would not be a good fit for you for these reasons. Is that accurate? I've said many things where I'm like, I'll be honest with you. I know that community. I know that property. And, kind of after seeing maybe 1 or 2 properties with you, I wouldn't even sell you that property. They're like, what? I say things like, to be honest with you, what's important to me as a professional real estate agent is that every one of the buyers who buys a property with me is that I make sure that if for any reason you needed to sell the property, that I helped you buy a property that would be easy to resell and would be put you in a position to have high profitability on the resale. So I don't sell my clients properties like that back up to busy streets. So if I see a property where I think there's problems with it, the floor plan, I think that there's too much, problems with the property, and I don't think you guys have the capabilities to be able to deal with those properties, and I think it's going to be difficult to resell, I'm going to tell you not to buy it. They're like, thank you. Now, I don't know about you guys, but you've all sold a lot of houses where you're like, darn it, it's got that horrible floor plan that no one wants, and it's a disaster. See, if you've sold a buyer a house with that horrible floor plan, then you're out of integrity. I don't know about you guys, but I've had to sell many houses that had like that backed up to really busy streets and were really annoying, and or had really stupid backyards that were totally not what everybody wants. And I've had to sell them, and it's actually really hard to sell those because no buyers want that. If you've sold those properties to buyers, you're out of integrity. How do you earn trust? Right? I want to make sure that my clients know that I am going to protect them with my real estate knowledge, knowing that what's important too is if I have to sell their property, which I future pace that in advance, that when I sell it, I'm going to make sure that they make a profit and or it's a great property to resell, because that's what everybody wants. How do you earn trust? What's the difference? What do most agents do right now? Hey, do you like it? Would you like to make an offer? What do you guys think about this property? I think it's great. Right? See what I mean? So, there's a few tricks in trust. Now, the buyer consultation. So how do we get deep? Right? So let's go to number 3. How do we get deep with someone? How do we ask them questions where they reveal their true aspirations? They reveal their long-term goals. They reveal their real fears and concerns. They self-discover in your conversation more things that they didn't actually even realize before about what they want and what's important. How do we get their deal breakers? How do we get the true lifestyle desires that they have, and the really ultimate deep criteria? How do we get that stuff? Which is, we know, is where loyalty exists. Oh, Patrick, well, I just do that, in conversation as we're walking through houses. Yeah, you're not getting there. Well, I just, in the first conversation I talk to them, I ask them all kinds of questions. Oh, you're not even close. Well, I kind of learn it over time. Yeah, you're wasting their time and yours. And it's complete. The fact that we are asking incredibly personal, important questions about people's true desires of what they want to experience in their life regarding long-term financial investments and aspirations. We're asking them, like, in a text message, via email, on the run through a house, in the car, on the phone. The fact that we're asking important questions in a completely unprofessional environment is a total disaster. That we are unappreciating how important this conversation is by not setting up a formal environment in which to have the conversation. And I don't care if the formal environment is a Zoom session, or the formal environment is a coffee meeting before or after the appointment. Ultimately, a meeting at a conference room in your office is obviously the ideal, right? Like, that's the gold standard. But efficiently, we can just do it in Zoom. I've done many Zoom buyer consultations today, and it's fantastic. And they're dynamic. Everybody has adopted Zoom as a technology. So leveraging the Zoom technology is perfectly appropriate for a buyer consultation and an in-depth conversation. I do it every day. You guys do it with me. We all do it now. So we have no excuse as to why we're not setting up a formal conversation in which we go deep with people about what's important to them, what their fears, what their concerns are, what their true aspirations, what their real estate goals are, and what their deal breakers are, right? And to help them to really understand the priorities of this, right? We have no excuse, right? And if the reason why so many people are like, oh, buyers are unloyal, and it takes forever for me to, you have to show buyers so many properties before they ever make a decision. Yeah, you know why you have to show them so many properties to make a decision is because you don't understand them good enough, and or you don't understand your market good enough to be able to decipher quickly what truly is the property that they would want in the community that they want. That's why buyers take forever to close. It's because either A, you didn't earn the trust where you asked so many good questions that they actually self-discovered clearly, eloquently, exactly what they would want. And then you don't understand the property types, the market, the price points so good that you can match the two together and for them to trust you with that, and then to just go find it for them. That's what the best agents do. See, I work with so many great agents where they just put deals together fast. Well, how does that happen? It's because they understand the market really well and they understand people really well. And when they do a good job of asking enough of the questions and get deep with people and they know the market really well, they put deals together all the time. Buyer sales are super easy. Yes? Because I'm looking at a bunch of you guys that do that. Problem is when you get lazy with going deep with the people, you never put yourself with your knowledge in a place to be successful quickly. And you have too many of these buyers with all this surface bullshit. And then you're like running around and showing them properties, trying to see if you can figure out how to get deep. And you're so distracted and so busy that you actually just run in circles and the whole thing just falls apart and occasionally you sell a home. Okay, makes perfect sense to me, right? Okay, let's see what else. Advantage. Let's hit this last point on, is there some advantage working with you versus anyone else? Okay, so is it appropriate for us to talk about how to negotiate and what we do to negotiate and how we enjoy negotiation? If you're not in this market, that's a disaster, right? If you're not talking about how you prepare your clients to be successful in the marketplace and the level of depth in which you prep your clients to be able to make offers that win so that you can be empowered to negotiate on their behalf. Hey, Mr. Buyers, here's everything that I need to be one of the most ferocious, kick-ass negotiators on your behalf so that I can go fight listing agents and beat competition on your behalf. Here's my list of demands that I need from you so that I can go kick ass and get you the best deal, the best property at the best price. But if you don't give me all these things, you're just basically putting me at a disadvantage and I'll just do my best. So did you want me to be in a position to be able to kick serious ass for you? Or did you want me to be, completely disadvantaged when I'm trying to win the best property at the best price for the best terms against the 10 other buyers that are going to be making strong offers in the marketplace today? Which one sounds like a better plan? Like, what are we doing? Right? It's like, it doesn't even make sense that we're not telling them, put me in a powerful position to kick ass for you.
What are you asking them for? Because I do it differently.
I don't know. You tell me, what do you need from them so that when you see the right property, before you even see the right property, because you know that this is going to be a property they're going to make an offer on, that you're 100% prepared to start negotiating and convincing and influencing the listing agent the moment that you call them to set up the appointment, because that's when it starts. Because if you're not already influencing the listing agent the moment that you call to set up the appointment, and you're not 100% prepared to present that buyer powerfully and successfully, you're already at a disadvantage.
So you're talking about like the terms of the contract, things like the pre-approvals, telling them the seller's disclosure has to be signed, all that stuff, right? Because that's what I do. I'm wondering if you do more or differently. I'll tell them I can tell you what I'm doing that's successful to win bidding wars, but it's your level of comfort that will determine how much risk you want to be at with these terms. Because we have people doing crazy shit. I mean, listen, $5 million sale, someone puts $1 million non-refundable deposit down. That's something. Are you willing to do that? That's what I do. I say, this is what we do. You tell me where your level of comfort is at for the risk you want to take on.
Sure, whatever. Are your buyers prepared mentally, and are they prepared financially? Do you have all of the documentation? Have they already reviewed a contract? Have they already looked at the list to sold price ratios for the property type that they're already wanting to buy? Have you showed them evidence of exactly what's going to have to happen? Have you showed them examples of other offers you've written that've gotten accepted? Have you showed them the true reality of what's going on? Or are you just yapping about it where they actually distrust you? Because at the final moment, you didn't bring up any of this stuff. And now you're asking them to bend over backwards. And oh, by the way, they weren't even prepared for any of it, that you have to go spend 2 hours explaining all of this stuff at 9 o'clock at night because we already are late to submit the offer because you didn't prepare them in advance. And now you're spending 2 hours at night from 9 to 11, drinking wine, trying to get them ready and the offer ready because you didn't do it in advance. What are we doing? Oh, just call me whenever you find the right property and I'll be ready. Okay. Do you guys follow me? It's a disaster. We're not even preparing them in advance for what is to come. And we're just talking about it, not showing them evidence, examples. We're not giving them documentations and samples. We're not getting them prepared at all. Let me show you, here's an offer that I wrote that got accepted against 10 other buyers. Let me show you an example of the email. Let me show you the example of the PDF. Here is an example of the letter of the buyers of who they are. Here's the pre-approval. I already had the proof of funds already dialed in. And here's the contract. And I had it in one long PDF. And here's the summary of the email of how I wrote it for the listing agent. And oh, by the way, when I talked to the listing agent, the very first time when I set up the appointment, I was already convincing the listing agent that you guys were one of the best buyers in the marketplace right now. And I already had all the documentation and they were 100% ready. And they knew exactly what it was going to take to be able to win against the competition because I already pre-told them. So, hey, listing agent, I'm super excited to be at the property. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day. I will let you know. There's a good chance after I talk to my buyers, I might even have the offer ready to go when I show up at the property. I'll let you know. And it's going to be the best offer you're going to see, and you're going to want to accept it right after I present it. Are you that prepared? Are they that prepared? Or are we just working on that at 11 o'clock at night, trying to figure it all out at the last minute? Right? Every agent's like, I'm so miserable working with buyers. Yeah, because you didn't prepare anyone for anything. And of course, you have to spend from 7 o'clock at night until 11 o'clock at night doing all the work that you should have done already 3 weeks ago.
But Patrick, are you doing this during your buyer presentation? You know, that's
how about do it like 2 or 3 meetings?
Okay, because
I'm thinking over Zoom, do one in the office, do another one over Zoom. Hey, now that you guys made the decision to hire me, let's do a meeting on Zoom about for me to show you how I'm going to win the best property at the best price for you. Now that you've made the decision to hire me, let's do that Zoom meeting tonight.
Hey, Patrick, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff needs to be personalized, but I'm wondering too, what your thoughts are and what everybody's thoughts are. I mean, some of this stuff is going to be very similar for all cases. I mean, what would it look like if you're creating videos?
I know exactly where you're going, Chris. More video. You know my opinion about this.
Okay.
If we could get this content, these best practices, biggest mistakes, the how to win in a competitive environment, if we can get you guys to translate your wisdom, your expertise, your strategy, and you guys can get this into a video, that saved all of us ridiculous amounts of time. And remember, there's such a powerful distinction between, hey, Chris, I need you to do these things so that I can help you win. And you're like, why are you asking me to do these uncomfortable things? Lack of trust versus, hey guys, all of the world, how I, Chris, a rockstar real estate agent, helps my clients win against the competition is I ask for these very specific things. Now, here's why I do that. And here's an example of how I won against massive competition and helped my client who actually wrote an offer less than the highest offer, but they accepted this offer. Here's an example of that. I helped the Joneses do that. So, hey, all my clients that are working with me, this is what I need you to do. And let's get that done as soon as possible so I can help you win, right? Have an awesome day. Check out my next video on the next thing. Of course, which is better, universally saying it or having to tell people directly what they need to do to bend over backwards and feel like you are working for the listing agent, trying to screw them over, or you're just trying to get the deal, asking them to do really difficult things.
Well, and then ideally, I think then even if you set an appointment buyer consult with somebody that you ask them, have you watched this video on my YouTube channel? No. Well, here it is. And then in the video, it's like, here's all the stuff I need from you. They show up with the buyer consult. Here's all the stuff you said you need. Now you're like, great, we're ready to go.
Yes, all of this stuff. Okay, so we're going to sum this up. Earning respect because of your market knowledge from the very first conversation, right? Number 2, trust. Somehow getting trust by talking about deal breakers, by actually letting them know that you are not going to sell them something that is not going to be a good real estate investment that's going to have difficult resale. Saying no to properties. I don't think you're going to like this one. This one's not going to work for you. I wouldn't sell this. I say things like this. I wouldn't sell this to you guys if you wanted it. I love saying that. So funny, guys. I would never let you guys. I'd never let you guys buy this.
I would never buy this house is what I tell them. So I could not possibly recommend that you buy it.
Yeah, absolutely not. Right. Number 3, going deep, setting up an environment in which we go deep with people. They self-discover things that they didn't even know about themselves, getting their fears and concerns, getting their aspirations, their long-term, short-term goals in real estate, going deep with people as a real estate consultant and an advisor, right? Understanding their lifestyle desires and priorities for their family, not just bedrooms, bath, square feet, Scott. And then whatever this last thing I just said, the advantage stuff. We got to be way more. One last thing too, for the new agents that may watch this video at a later date. New agents, one advantage, right, is that you make a promise to your buyer that for every property that you set them up on a listing alert, you will look at it the moment that it pops up and you will make a simple comment about it. And you will be the one that's always on top of every single property that comes on the market in the save search that you set up. If I was a new agent, would that be a competitive advantage that I will call you, I will comment, and I will be on top of every single new property that shows up? And I will know about it before you know about it. What do you think is the number one common complaint that buyers have with agents? Is they know about all the best properties before we do. It's a joke, right? This is why, last thing I'll say, if we truly committed to less buyers who were committed to working with us, then we would be happy to pay attention to all the listings coming on the market. And we would sell a lot more homes faster. But because we have zero levels of commitment to our buyers, and we have too many buyers to pay attention to, you're not even paying attention to any of the properties coming on the market. You guys follow me? It's a disaster. We literally are reducing the quality of our service because we're trying to serve more people that are not committed to us. And then the people that are committed to you and who are ready to go aren't getting enough attention from you because you never went deep. You don't even know if they're ready or not. And so you're not giving them the attention. And so that's why the whole world of internet leads to such a disaster is because it's like we can almost not go deep with anyone and we could still sell homes. That's just not good because they just keep coming. Okay. So I got to shut up. Helpful?